my finish was on top of Lottare. I said I gotta take the maximum time out of Lottare, because also the Galibier is a hard climb, but it's a steep climb, you know. So if I go full gas in front, I might go, for example, with 20k an hour, and if the guys go slow, they still go with 15, 60k an hour. So it's really hard to increase the time gap on steep slopes in general, always. So my goal was, okay, this was one point, so I got to make the difference on Lottare. The other point was, you know, it's like a soccer game, you know, it's 1-0, you know, there's still hope for the other team. 2-0, there's still hope, but already less hope for the other team. But, you know, once it's 6-0, the team gives up, you know. So my goal was like, you know, I need to, you know, take the maximum time out of the others. So, you know, maybe you would just, you know, fall into a depression and stop pulling behind.
So here's some vision now. I think it's about 6.3k to go, and it's obviously starting to really sting in the legs.
Andy Schleck is now hitting the hardest part of the climb, and he does not look as strong as he looked 10 minutes ago.
Well, don't take it away from him. It's taken him a long time to ride to this point, and he had the courage and the dedication to escape with 60 kilometres to go to the finish.
Cadell, can you hear us now, mate?
I can. I'm back. Sorry,
He's back.
Part of the show.
So it's about 7k to go. You've obviously gone to the front and driving it. Are you just fully committed now, knowing that you're not going to get any support?
Well, yeah, pretty safe in the fact. Like Alberto Contador was actually the one who provided the most, because he kind of helped initiate the chase. The big thing was also like Basso did a couple of turns, but also you have to remember I'm chasing down Andy, but Frank was on my wheel. So I was thinking of that in my mind. And obviously I had the legs that day, but also for me it was 2 years previously. I didn't want to be in more than 2 minute deficit going into the time trial, because for 2 years I'd been at more than 2 minutes. Everyone expected me to win, and I pulled up short in the following day's time trial for the overall of the tour. So I was thinking more with keeping or lessening the gap a little bit to Andy, but also his brother. I'm an only child, so I don't even know what it's like to have a brother, never alone have a brother who's your teammate on GC in the tour. But I'm guessing the last person who's going to help me in the world for all the right reasons is Frank, and but also I had to keep that put me in a really difficult and unique situation. But thanks to these close calls in years gone by, and I think Andy's probably been in this in 2010. He probably had this same thing where despite everyone's panicking, and you learn to stay calm and just concentrate on what you need to do. And I really had to put all my years of experience to use that day on that final climb and just ride the fastest tempo I could to maintain, or maybe take a bit of time back on Andy, but also to save a bit in the tank just in case Frank still had something left in the final.
Well, we've got vision now of the finish of that stage.
But is he going to be in yellow tonight, or is this incredible Frenchman, Tommy Voigtler, going to be in yellow for the 10th day? Andy gets it. The clock starts now. Now Evans, he's got it down to just on 2 minutes. He was 1:18 behind. Now he's not that far behind overall.
The race is far from over. Tomorrow is short. It's going to be one of the nastiest stages of any tour I've done, I think.
Stewie, you can tell there that you know that the race is far from finished. But on the bus, or when you got back to the hotel, you must have had a big sense of pride of you had this plan and you pulled it off.
Oh, absolutely, Dan. I mean, there's not many moments. It's a bit of a Cancellara before a Paris-Bay. There's not many occasions where you actually set a plan and they actually come off. So, massive respect. To Cadell for the ride that he did. Benefit of hindsight's a great thing. That plan that Andy and we put in place weeks. It was a bit of a dream, a bit of a pipe dream. But like we've said earlier, to see it actually come to fruition, and Andy, standing up on the podium, and my radio meanwhile is like crackling in and out. Like I was so far behind by then that I might have been the last teammate standing, but I think I was the last teammate to cross the finish line. to hear that over the radio and to see Andy win that stage meant so much to me personally. That you know what, you can disrupt a race. You can have, you know, a young guy comes up, and you know, I will call Andy a young guy at the time. You know, come up with this crazy plan, but to make the whole team believe in it, and to see him standing up on the podium, you know, delivering that win, there was something special. You know, it doesn't happen very often, and we can sit here and laugh about it now, but you know, that took a lot of guts, a lot of courage, and you know, it's just one of those moments. It was, you know, seeing, you know, listening to Cadel now talk about his side of the story, seeing how much effort he put in on the other side. I mean, you know, how good sport, how good cycling, and how honoured and privileged am I to have ridden with these guys and to be a part of it. It's fantastic.
How does that make you feel, Andy, when you reflect on such an iconic stage like that?
Yeah, you know, especially it's coming out of, you know, I mean, Stewie, he was my hero when I was growing up, and he was already pro. I remember following him. I was 14 years old. He was in Crédit Agricole, and suddenly we became teammates, and then we became good friends. We did the camps together, trained together, you know, and suddenly I'm here, and hearing that from him, you know, gives me goosebumps today. But also for me, it's the first time that I actually hear Cadel really telling the other side of the story. And you know, the other things which we could add, you know, to that day. I mean, you know, we were under big pressure at Team Leopard, you know, because I was the guy next in line to win the Tour. Cadel, you know, had many goes before, and you know, had bad luck in tours before. And you know, if you look at the Tour until there, we didn't really do what everybody want us to do. Huh? I lost time in Pau in the rain. The stage, I lost, I think, something like almost a minute there to Cadel. Huh? So there was big pressure on us. So which also forced us into to believe in that plan. But then again, you know, it's a little bit a dream came true. But that's, you know, what cycling about. You work towards a goal, and you know, and a goal starts with a dream, and you know, you don't have many days where it's, you know, ends up in a success like that. You know, there are more of these others. I mean, Cadel, you can, you know, talk for yourself how many times you dreamed of winning the Tour and how many times you were close and you never really succeeded until 2011. And you know, having Cadel there chasing me behind, of course, I had the radio connection, and I knew that it was him pulling behind. Is also kind of a privilege for me, because Cadel as well, you know, we are, I would say, two different generations of riders, and yeah, it's a kind of cool, and makes me proud again of that day, because it was, you know, just a perfect example of perfect teamwork.
And Cadel,
Yeah.
how do you go when you reflect on days like that?
Oh, certainly hearing. This is the first time I hear Stewie and Andy's side of the story. Of course, Stewie and Andy, you know, we spent lots of time since, but we don't talk about racing when we see each other. But yeah, to hear it from Andy's side, of course, is also interesting for me. I look back at it, and I'm thinking it's probably considered, also for me, it's one of the best days of my career. And everything that all my experience that I had, I put down to on that chase. To look back at it now, and the fact we're 9.5 years on, nearly 9.5 years on, we're still talking about this I think it was 9.8 kilometers or something from the finish where I went to the front. Still talking about it now. Obviously, it was a significant part of my career, and I hope also in cycling, because like this attack that, like Stewie referred to, it's like an Eddie Merckx kind of attack in modern cycling. Unfortunately, we're often so criticised for doing something in cycling, or as sports people in general, that it forces us to be very conservative. Of course, especially at the Tour. And so people don't go and do these things because there's so much to risk, to lose, and so much you're going to be so criticised if it doesn't come off, because they've gone and done something that's maybe 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 chance of coming off. And so they pull that off, and to win it becomes something really special. But unfortunately, the environment around our sport discourages this kind of courage. So so the fact that it comes off from that side, but on the same side to be put there on my own, chasing down, I'm like, oh, teammates chase, no one, well, it's up to me or nothing. I have to say, when I was chasing behind, one thing I was getting information on the radio, of course, the time checks and so on. But when you're riding on the front for 4K and the director comes on and it's like, oh, Contador's struggling. Oh, just do a little acceleration. Contador's dropped. You've ridden Contador off the wheel on the Galibier and the Tour de France. Obviously, anyone who's ridden uphill, that's quite a confidence booster. Oh, this is going good. Keep going. And but of course, like I said, thanks to my experience before, just being able to be calm, calculating in this in that moment was years and years of experience put to use.
This is the winning ride of the Tour de France.